Hello again. Welcome back to our series on systems of equations. This is going to be our first example with a word problem. So let's get started. We have the total number of visitors to Anderson Gardens in Rockford for the week is 1,000. If a child's admission is $6, the adult admission is $8, and the total revenue from the admission is $7,150, how many children and how many adults did they have during the week? Okay, first thing with any word problem, let's label the things we know. First, we'll let A equal the number of adults, and C equal the number of children. So let's see what we know. Okay, so if A equals the number of adults, C equals the number of children, and we know that there were a total of 1,000 people there during the week, then one of the equations we know would be A plus C equals 1,000. Because again, the number of adults and the number of children were a total of 1,000 people. All right, so that's our first equation. Let's find the second equation. So we know that a child's admission is $6 and an adult admission is $8. So what would 8A represent? Well, here, let me write it like this actually. It would be 8.00A. What this represents is it's $8 per adult. A represents the number of adults, so this would represent the amount of money coming in from selling tickets to adults. And then we'd have plus, all right, and it's going to be $6 for a child, so it'd be 6C. Again, $6 per child. C represents the number of children, and if you add up all of this, we are going to get $7,150. You don't really need the dollar signs, but I think it helps you understand what these numbers are, what they mean, but we can get rid of them now. Okay, so now here's our system. Now we just have to solve it. At this point, if you watched the previous videos, we have the following methods: graphing, substitution, addition, and row reducing. I probably wouldn't do this with graphing, though you can. Substitution and addition would be pretty good, and then we have row reducing. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and do the addition method. With the addition method, what you want to do is you want to be able to cancel one of the variables. So our goal is to make, let's say we want to cancel C's. Let's cancel the C's. Well, I need the numbers, the coefficients, the numbers in front of C to be the same but with opposite signs. So if this is a positive 6, then if I can make that a negative 6, then when I add these two together, they will cancel. So let's multiply the first line. Let's multiply by negative 6. Because again, we need this to be a 6, but we also need it to be negative. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. We don't have to do anything. So to this one, I'll just say nothing. All right. So you multiply the first line by 6. Make sure you multiply everything by 6. So this is going to be 6A. Negative 6A minus 6C equals negative 6,000. And since we're not changing anything to the second row, I'll just leave it alone. I got rid of the 0.00, that, because we don't need it. And that's going to equal 7,150. All right, we're ready to go with the addition method. So let's add the two together. So add. All right, so negative 6A plus 8A, that equals 2A. Negative 6C plus 6C, those cancel. And then negative 6,000 plus 7,150, which will give me 1,150. And our last step, we would divide both sides by 2, and we would get 575 people. All right, so now let's go find C. All right, in order to find C, what you would do is you would take 575 and you'd plug it into one of your equations. Probably the easiest one would be this one right here. So we have A plus C equals 1,000. but I know A now is 575. So when I solve for C, you're going to get 425 children. So this is actually, we could say, adults here. Okay, and that's it. So what we can do is now we can go back and check our answers up here. So I'm going to erase this. Okay, let's rewrite our answers down. So we had A equals 575, and we had, what was it, 425. All right, so let's check them out. So we have two equations. So the first equation is A plus C, so 575 plus C, which is 425. Does that equal 1,000? And it does. 575 plus 425 equals 1,000. And then we have 8 times A, which is 575, plus, what is it? $6 for each children, or each child, times 425 children. And that is going to equal 7,150. And that's exactly what we're supposed to have. So there you go. There's our first word problem. Again, we use the addition method, but you can use a substitution, or you could have row reduced, or you could graph. But again, graphing probably wouldn't have been the best way of doing it.